Have you ever thought of someone, and moments later they text you, or you keep seeing the same number, 1111, everywhere you go? A song starts playing right when you're thinking about a memory you thought you'd buried long ago. It feels like the universe is whispering, "Pay attention," as if reality itself is alive, responding to your thoughts, your emotions, your hidden desires. Carl Jung called this mysterious alignment between inner and outer events synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence where something deep within you connects with something beyond you, not through cause and effect, but through meaning. When Jung first spoke about synchronicity, he was challenging the very foundation of Western thinking, because we are taught to believe that life is random, that coincidences are just accidents. That meaning only exists inside the human mind, not in the world around us. But what if that isn't true? What if meaning is woven into the very fabric of reality? And synchronicities are how the universe lets us know we're aligned with our soul's path. Imagine for a moment that life is not happening to you. It's happening with you. Every symbol, every encounter, every small event is part of a vast, invisible conversation between your consciousness and the world. That conversation is happening all the time, but most of us have forgotten how to listen. Synchronicities are those rare moments when the veil becomes thin. When you feel, even for a second, that something larger than your ego is guiding you. They're not signs to make you superstitious. They're mirrors. Reflections of what is moving inside you, surfacing in the outer world. Let's start with a simple truth. The universe is not chaotic. It's connected. And you, your thoughts, emotions, and unconscious patterns are part of that field of connection. When your inner world shifts, your outer world rearranges itself to mirror that change. That's why meaningful coincidences often appear when you're in transition, when you're healing, growing, or standing at a crossroads in life. You start noticing repeating numbers, symbols, or words. You meet people who carry messages you needed to hear. Songs, dreams, and random conversations suddenly echo the same theme. It's as if the universe is trying to get your attention through patterns of meaning. Here's the thing, you don't have to chase synchronicities. You only need to become receptive. The more you slow down, the more you tune into your intuition instead of rushing through life, the more the world begins to speak in symbols. Start by paying attention to 3 things. When coincidences happen, what were you thinking or feeling right before they did? How do they make you feel? Curious, calm, afraid, seen. And what pattern keeps repeating lately? Numbers, dreams, people, words. These are the clues. Each synchronicity is like a note in a larger melody, and together they form a message. Synchronicities don't demand blind belief. They invite awareness. They remind you that your inner and outer worlds are mirrors of one another. And once you start living with that awareness, your life begins to feel less like a series of random events and more like a dialogue with the divine. Because maybe the universe doesn't speak in words. It speaks in symbols. And every coincidence you notice is its way of saying you're exactly where you need to be. Carl Jung didn't come up with the idea of synchronicity overnight. It was born from years of working with dreams, symbols, and the mysterious ways the unconscious expresses itself. He noticed that certain events seem to connect with a person's inner state, not by logic, but by meaning. One of Jung's most famous experiences happened during a therapy session. He was working with a woman who was very rational, logical, closed off to anything beyond science. She was describing a dream in which she received a golden scarab, an ancient Egyptian symbol of transformation. As she spoke, Jung heard a gentle tapping behind him. He turned, opened the window, and a scarab beetle, almost identical to the one in her dream, flew into the room. The woman was stunned. Something inside her broke open. That moment marked a turning point in her therapy. For Jung, it was a living example of synchronicity, an outer event mirroring an inner transformation. He began to ask a radical question. Could there be a hidden order beneath what we call coincidence? An invisible field connecting our minds to the events of the world? For Jung, the answer was yes. He saw the psyche not as a separate island inside the skull, but as part of a larger ocean, a living field of consciousness shared by all of humanity. He called this the collective unconscious. In that deeper layer of being, symbols and archetypes live, the universal patterns that shape our dreams, myths, and emotions. And sometimes, when something within us moves or awakens, the outer world moves with it. That's synchronicity. It's as if your inner world and the outer world are two sides of the same mirror. When one changes, the other reflects it. Later in life, Jung collaborated with the quantum physicist Wolfgang Pauli, a Nobel Prize winner. Pauli was fascinated by dreams. Jung was fascinated by physics. Together they searched for a bridge between matter and mind. They believed synchronicity was that bridge, the meeting point between the world of psyche and the world of matter. To Jung, synchronicity wasn't magic, it was meaning. It revealed that reality is not made of separate things, but of relationships. That behind what we call chance is a pattern, a web of symbols connecting the seen and unseen. Think of it like this. Your psyche sends out a signal, a question, a need, a longing. And the universe, through its infinite intelligence, sends an answer back in symbolic form. Not through words, but through events, images, timing. You might be wondering, how do I know when it's real synchronicity and not just coincidence? Here's a simple distinction. A coincidence makes you shrug. A synchronicity makes you feel. It stirs something inside you. You sense that it carries a message, even if you can't put it into words. It feels intimate, as if the world suddenly knows your secret thoughts. When Jung explored these moments with his patients, he realized something profound. Synchronicities often appeared when the conscious mind was stuck, when reason couldn't find a way forward. And then, like a symbol from a dream, the outer world would present a clue. He believed this was how the unconscious helped guide us toward wholeness, through symbols, dreams, and meaningful events. Synchronicity, in that sense, is not just a curiosity, it's guidance. It's the psyche reaching across the boundaries of time and space to get your attention, to remind you that you're not just living in the world, you're participating in its creation. So, how does synchronicity actually work? How can something inside of you, a thought, a dream, a feeling, shape what happens outside of you? To understand this, you have to imagine life not as a straight line, but as a web. Every thought, every emotion, every action sends a vibration into that web. And the universe, like a living organism, responds. It mirrors back to you the frequency you're radiating. When your mind, emotions, and actions are in alignment, the web becomes coherent, and meaning flows easily between the inner and outer world. But when you're fragmented, anxious, or disconnected from your deeper self, that web feels tangled. You might still experience coincidences, but they seem random, chaotic, without harmony. Synchronicity happens when something in your unconscious aligns with a pattern in the world. It's not you creating the event. It's more like your inner state and the outer event are two expressions of the same energy. That's why synchronicities often arise in moments of change, after heartbreak, loss, or deep healing. The psyche is reorganizing itself, and the outer world reflects that transformation. You might dream of water and wake up to rain. You think of a person you haven't seen in years, and they suddenly appear. You're contemplating a major decision, and the same word or symbol keeps showing up everywhere, in books, conversations, even graffiti on a wall. These are not accidents. They are symbols moving through matter. And the more consciously you live, the more you begin to notice them. Noticing is the key. Most of us rush through our days so fast that we miss the subtle dialogue between ourselves and the universe. But synchronicities are like whispers. They require silence to be heard. If you want to invite more synchronicity into your life, you don't need rituals or complicated practices. You only need to become aware. Start by slowing down your attention. When something strange or meaningful happens, don't immediately dismiss it. Pause. Feel. Ask yourself, what was I just thinking about? What emotion was I holding? Often, the synchronicity will mirror that exact inner state. It's your psyche's way of confirming what is true, or nudging you toward what needs to be seen. You can even keep a synchronicity journal. Write down every meaningful coincidence you notice, the date, what happened, and what you were feeling. Over time, you'll begin to see patterns, threads connecting one moment to another, weaving a story that's larger than logic. And here's the magic. Once you start documenting these moments, more of them will appear, because attention is energy. And what you give attention to grows. But synchronicity isn't just about personal signs, it's also about connection. When you're aligned with your deeper purpose, when you're moving in the direction your soul wants to go, synchronicity becomes your companion. Doors open. Opportunities unfold effortlessly. The right people arrive at the right time. It's as if life starts saying yes. You'll notice that synchronicities tend to cluster around moments of transformation. When you make a leap of faith, follow your intuition, or let go of something that's no longer aligned, the universe seems to respond with confirmation. It's a dance. one step from you, one from the world. And sometimes synchronicity comes not as encouragement, but as interruption, a delay, a sudden obstacle. Even that is meaningful. It's the psyche's way of saying, not this way, not yet. The more you attune to these rhythms, the more you begin to trust life's timing. You stop forcing outcomes. You begin to sense that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even the parts you don't yet understand. This trust is not naive. It's a quiet confidence that meaning is always present, even in uncertainty. Jung believed that synchronicity was a form of a causal order, meaning without mechanics. He said that behind the surface of random events lies a deeper pattern, an invisible intelligence shaping our lives. You don't need to fully understand it to experience it. You only need to stay awake to it. When you start to live this way, with open eyes and open heart, life becomes full of quiet miracles. The boundary between inner and outer begins to dissolve. And you realize that everything you encounter, from a stranger's smile to a sudden storm, can carry a message meant just for you. That's when living becomes art. Not a battle of control, but a dance of awareness. You begin to see the poetry in your own story. You begin to trust the timing of your unfolding, because every coincidence, every repetition, every unexpected turn might just be the universe aligning you with what your soul already knows. There comes a moment in every journey when the coincidences stop feeling random. When you begin to sense a rhythm, a quiet intelligence guiding you through the ordinary days of your life. It's subtle, never loud, never demanding. Yet it speaks in a language older than words. And once you learn to recognize it, you can never unsee it. You start realizing that the same lessons echo through different forms. The same themes appear in new faces, new places, new times. Life becomes a mirror, reflecting back not just what you do, but who you are. Synchronicity is not about predicting the future or controlling fate. It's about participating in it, becoming aware of how intimately connected you are to everything around you. It's about seeing that your story doesn't exist in isolation. It's woven into a much larger tapestry of meaning. Every soul has its own rhythm, and when you begin to align with yours, the world responds. The right people cross your path. Books find their way into your hands. A sentence you overhear at a cafe answers a question you never spoke aloud. You begin to understand that the universe has never been silent. You were just learning its language. And this language is not logical. It's symbolic. It speaks through patterns, through emotion, through resonance. It bypasses the intellect and reaches straight into the heart. When something moves you deeply, when a sign feels charged with energy, that's the signal that meaning is present. It's the same force that animates your dreams, the same field that connects you to the collective unconscious. It's life's way of saying, this moment matters. Pay attention. But there's one thing many people misunderstand about synchronicity. It's not a reward system for positive thinking, and it's not a shortcut to control reality. It's not the universe giving you everything you want. It's the universe giving you what your soul needs. And sometimes that's not the same thing. Synchronicity may arrive as confirmation, but also as correction. It can guide you toward the right path, or gently push you away from something that isn't aligned. A plan falls apart, a door closes, an opportunity slips through your fingers. And only later, when you look back, you realize it was protection, not loss. That, too, is synchronicity, because life is not linear. Meaning often unfolds backwards. We understand it only when we've walked far enough to see the pattern. Jung once said, "Bidden is not about asking for what you want, but aligning yourself with what you need." Synchronicity works in the same way. It's the alignment between your inner truth and the outer world. When the two resonate, the result is meaning. A deep, wordless knowing that says, yes, this is the way. Learning to trust that feeling takes courage, because your mind will doubt it. It will try to analyze, to explain, to reduce everything to logic. But synchronicity speaks the language of the heart, not the intellect. And if you listen long enough, it will guide you toward what is real. Not the fantasies of the ego, but the quiet truth of the soul. So how do you stay open to it? You live in awareness. You learn to slow down, to pay attention to the quality of your moments. You stay curious. You allow wonder back into your life. When something stirs your intuition, follow it. When an image repeats, a number reappears, or a stranger's words touch you more than they should, pause. Don't rush to label it as coincidence. Ask instead, what part of me is being mirrored right now? That question alone can open a doorway between your conscious and unconscious mind. And it's through that doorway that synchronicity walks in. The more you honor it, the more it reveals itself. The more you trust it, the clearer the conversation becomes. It's like learning to dance with the unseen. One step guided by reason, the other by intuition. Together, they create balance. Together, they create meaning. And maybe that's what Jung wanted us to remember. That meaning isn't something you find once and keep forever. It's something you cultivate every day by being present, by being open, by saying yes to the mystery of being alive. If you're going through a season of confusion or uncertainty right now, notice what keeps repeating. Notice what keeps calling your attention. Maybe life is trying to guide you somewhere new. Maybe the very thing that seems accidental is the map you've been waiting for. When we stop seeing ourselves as separate from life, we realize that the universe is not a machine. It's a mirror. And every event, every encounter, every coincidence reflects a fragment of the infinite back to us. You are not a small being in a vast, indifferent world. You are part of the pattern itself, the universe experiencing itself through you. Your choices, your thoughts, your feelings ripple across existence in ways you may never see, but always matter. So the next time a coincidence feels too perfect to ignore, don't. Let it move you. Let it remind you that you're connected to everything, that you're guided, seen, and loved by something far greater than chance. Life is full of meaning, but meaning reveals itself only to those who are willing to look. And perhaps that's the greatest synchronicity of all, that you are here, listening to these words right now. Because maybe on some level, your soul called you to them. Maybe this message was meant to find you at this exact moment, as a quiet reminder that you are on the right path. You don't have to understand it all. You just have to stay awake. As Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So keep noticing, keep listening, and keep saying yes to the mystery that moves through your days. Because the more you live in harmony with that mystery, the more the universe will reveal itself, not as chaos, but as a profound, living conversation between your soul and the world. And if this message spoke to you, if you feel called to explore the deeper layers of the mind, the language of dreams, symbols, and the hidden wisdom of the soul, I invite you to subscribe to Soul of the Mind. Together, we'll continue exploring the unseen, the spaces where psychology meets spirituality, and where meaning reveals itself through the smallest of moments. Because here, you are not just watching a video. You're remembering something your soul already knows.